What's up, traders? Zach here from the Trading Network. I hope you guys are doing well. First of all, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. If you find value in this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and click that bell notification to be notified every single time we post videos here on the channel. Now, with that said, if you guys have been following my trading, especially over the last month or so, I hope that you have already taken away value from the videos I've released talking about these experiences. For those of you guys a little bit less familiar, in May, I had a great start to the month. I was on a 14-day winning streak where I locked in over $100,000, yes, in 14 trading days. This was trading 20 Apex Trader Funding PA accounts where I use a trade copier to copy from one master account across 20 accounts total. Now, with that said, after I amassed that $100,000 14-day winning streak, on my 15th trading day, I was faced with adversity. I had a $35,000 losing day where I wiped out all of my profit for that week. I made a video talking about that experience, so if you guys haven't watched that video, definitely go back and check that out, as I can almost guarantee there will be many things that you will be able to learn from my mistakes on that day. And furthermore, after that tough losing day, I actually was able to bounce back, stay resilient, persevere, and get back to business, locking in $12,000 on the very next trading day. What I was able to do was I was able to persevere and push through these difficulties because I know that I have an edge. I know that as long as I do not become impulsive, as long as I do not risk all of my profit or risk everything to save one day, that I will be able to come back with a level head, most importantly, and get back to business. So that is exactly what this video is about. So if you guys are finding yourself in a situation where you are finding success, where you are having winning streaks, where you are able to pass evaluations, but that one day where it is the inevitable losing day that is not avoidable, as a trader, you can't handle it. If you blow all your hard work on one day after you've locked in days, weeks, months of profit, this video is for you. So without any further delay, let's dive into the TradeZella calendar and let's talk about some of the key takeaways from my $100,000 month. All right, so I've got TradeZella pulled up here. And for those of you guys not familiar, first and foremost, TradeZella is an online journaling platform, and it is by far the best journaling platform that I have ever used. I would venture to say it's probably the best journaling platform that exists. It was made by Umar Ashraf, an amazing trader, and somebody who truly understands how important it is to have a journal made by traders for traders. So shout out to you, Umar. I appreciate you very much. And TradeZella has just continued to improve my trading on a daily basis. So for those of you guys that want to learn more about TradeZella, search my channel for TradeZella. I have a ton of videos and I will continue to make content showcasing TradeZella because journaling as a trader, both from a technical and psychological perspective, is really an integral part to being successful. I said it in my last video. I say it all the time, but it's pretty much impossible to be a consistently profitable trader without journaling, both technicals and trading psychology. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to just discuss the key takeaways that helped me persevere through this $35,000 losing day and then end the month up $110,450.70. Now, once again, this is 20 Apex Trader Funding accounts. So believe it or not, I am really, locking in anywhere from maybe like $300 a day to like $700 or $800 a day on some of my better days when I am trade copying, because you really don't need to stick around very long, especially if your trades are being multiplied by 20. Yes, on losing days, they're also multiplied, as we can see very clearly right here. But as long as you have a system and as long as you are able to manage your risk properly, this is such a blessing. I used one of the Apex discounts. You guys can use my discount code. I'll put it up here in the video as well. I used one of the Apex discounts. I think it was either 80% off or 90% off. So I got 20 $300,000 accounts, which each have a $7,500 trailing drawdown, right, for less than $2,000. So I got $150,000 worth of drawdown. Think about that. For less than $2,000. Yeah, you got to prove that you can be consistent and be profitable to pass the evaluation and, more importantly, keep the funded account. But my friends, I paid $2,000 for this opportunity. Less than $2,000. Seriously. So, I mean, I think that everybody just needs to take a step back, especially if you're doing evaluations, and understand the potential of what is at your fingertips as long as you just chill out and take things slow. So many people just try to speed through the evaluations and get through the finish line, and most people can. They can pass an evaluation. Hell, they can pass 20 evaluations simultaneously, just like I did. But the problem is they probably gambled and oversized to get there, so they are ingraining bad habits into their brain while they're passing the evaluations, and then they expect that they're just all of a sudden going to be a good, consistently profitable trader that, you know, is able to control their impulses and doesn't act on their emotions and all sorts of stuff that you need to practice before you get funded. If you practice poorly, if you practice the wrong things getting funded and it happens to pass the evaluation for you, you're just going to repeat that in your evaluation. So if you think I'm talking about you right now, I definitely am, because I know so many people personally in the community, and I just observe so many people doing the same thing over and over again in all of these, you know, funded trader Facebook groups and things like that, that it's ridiculous. You know, just chill out. Even if it takes you 4 months to get funded in a situation like this, I mean, who cares? At the end of the 4 months, you got $150,000 worth of drawdown and unlimited potential. There is no ceiling. The ceiling is what we set for ourselves in our mind. So before I go on too much of a tangent, I just wanted to put that out there, that if you guys are, you know, finding yourself in these situations where, you know, you're just rushing to pass an evaluation, you get funded and then you blow your funded account immediately, slow down. Obviously what you're doing isn't working. Let's be real. Okay, so before I go on a huge tangent, this leads me to key takeaway number 1. It is essentially impossible for you to persevere through a situation like this without one thing. And that, my friends, is confidence. You need confidence in yourself. You need confidence in your edge. If you do not have confidence in A, yourself, and B, your ability to execute your edge, and let's take it one step further, C, the fact that you have an edge and it's going to work as long as you're in the right mindset, I mean, this perseverance is very, very low probability. If you are beating yourself up and telling yourself that you can't do it and that this winning streak was just a fluke and you probably just got lucky for the last 14 days, I mean, that's ridiculous if you think about it. That's where our mind goes. You know, our minds become so irrational when we have these bad experiences that it makes it very difficult to regain that confidence in ourselves. So taking number one step further, thing that you can do to get back confidence, especially if you guys are trading our systems or using NinjaTrader, is go back and trade some playback. Show yourself as soon as possible that A, you do have an edge, B, you know how to execute it, as long as you are in the right frame of mind. So confidence is a key factor to having resilience. You know, confidence, I would say, is an ingredient to resilience. It's an ingredient to grit. And grit is the combination of hustle, passion, and perseverance. And those things are absolutely required to be a trader, to get knocked down, to brush the dust off your shoulders and just keep it pushing. Okay, so it's time to talk about takeaway number 2. Now, this is going to seem pretty obvious considering I have my journaling software up, but a very big piece of my ability to move on and, you know, brush off a losing day essentially and keep pushing is collecting data, right? We need to collect data so that we can do just that. It would basically, once again, be very close to impossible for me to persevere if I didn't have something like TradeZella. Once again, shout out to Zella looking at this calendar, this is very clear, following my edge on all of these days, right? Following my plan. Cool, I had one day where I didn't follow my plan. That's okay. I'm human. I am going to expect to lose sometimes, and I have to deal with that because that is our overhead as traders, right? So if I don't have data like this, if I don't have the ability to see my progression as a trader, I have a very skewed perception, especially if confidence is an issue, right? All of these things work together. So if you don't have confidence and you don't have data that you can go back and prove to yourself, hey, literally the only thing that I did wrong on this day was I didn't stop soon enough. I should have stopped sooner. And yeah, I stopped and I walked away and I was able to come back, but most people just simply can't walk away on that day. Most people cannot tuck their tail between their legs and understand that losing the daily battle, losing the battle on May 19th allowed me to win the war of May. Does that make sense? You have to understand that you're not, a championship team. Even if you're three-peating like the Bulls, you're going to lose sometimes. And you have to understand that you're still a champion even if you have a bad game, even if you have a bad season, still a championship team. And that is the kind of resilience, honestly, that's required as a trader, as somebody who, has a performance-based job. Our job is performance-based. We literally get paid based on how well we perform. And we have to understand that on some days, performing well means walking away and losing. Understanding that losing is the cost of doing business. And there is no way to do that and be accepting of loss, in my opinion, without collecting data on something like TradeZella. Yeah, you can use Excel, you can use Notion, you can use whatever you want. But if you're not collecting data and, gathering information to prove to yourself that you have an edge, then you're basically just going to be going in blind every day, gambling, not being confident because you don't have data that proves to yourself that you have an edge and you have a system. Okay, so the third takeaway is something that I talked about in my last two videos when I was discussing my $12,000 bounce back day and my $35,000 losing day. And this is something that I'm going to refer to as release mechanisms, right? So what I mean, let me just write this out here. What I mean by a release mechanism is a way that you can get this experience off of your chest. And it can be journaling. It can be collecting data, but it's not going to be simply exporting your trade performance and importing it into TradeZella and then you're good to go. No, you need to actually let go of what has built up inside you in regards to the negative experience. And this is something that is very key. If you don't have a release mechanism, and it can be something as simple as going to the gym or going to the spa. These are things that I did. Going out and having a nice meal, going and, playing sports. I like to go play golf and, do things that I enjoy. So these are what I would refer to as release mechanisms, which are basically just everyday things that get our minds away from trading. And if you are in a situation where, your entire life is dedicated to trading, and whether or not you have a good trading day or a bad trading day determines whether you have a good day in your life or a bad day in your life, that's a problem. And that is something that I was experiencing for a long time. Anytime I had a bad trading day, I could basically walk out of my office and my girlfriend would be able to immediately, anybody that I talked to, anybody that saw my face, anybody that heard my voice could basically immediately tell that I was having a bad day, right? And it should not be like that. We need to harness and maintain the ability to release these experiences, whether they are good or bad, because on good days, we can get very euphoric and we can get overconfident. And the next day we can come in and we can oversize and you're going to have a really bad time. So a release mechanism can be very simple. It can be exercising. It can be going to the spa. It can be self-care, or it can also be doing something like what we do in the trading network. So I'm going to pull up the community journal channel and I'm going to show you guys just a quick view of something that we have in the community, which is quite literally a place for anybody to come and release their trading problems, their trading thoughts, their journaling for the day, whether they had a good day or a bad day. It is so important to let go and release. Journal what we can, learn what we can, and then just let it go, whether it was a good or a bad day, because either one can be carried with us into the next session and absolutely have an effect. So you must work on having several, ideally, release mechanisms so that on a good or a bad day, you can notate it for what it was and move on. Now, number 4 is going to be something that I talk about a lot. It's going to be something that is cliche, but it's also something that is exceptionally important, and that is appropriate expectations. You know, as traders, I think a lot of people, especially when we're in an illogical state of mind, we have this, fallacy that good traders or profitable traders don't lose. It's the opposite. Profitable traders are amazing at losing, and they are very quick to understand and recognize when they're not in the right frame of mind. You must have appropriate expectations. If you guys are just getting started in your journey, you need to have appropriate expectations that you're not going to be good for a while. You're probably going to have to spend a good amount of money on tuition, whether that's for a mentor, course content, the proper tools, the proper journaling software, and lost money, whether that's on evaluations. Hopefully it's on evaluations, because that is the best way, in my opinion, to get skin in the game while, not putting a bunch of your own money into a brokerage account and blowing it over and over again. So depending on where you are, or I'll say this, no matter where you are on your journey, it is vital to have appropriate expectations. Even if you have a winning streak of 14 days where you lock in $100,000, guess what? You're going to lose sooner than later. I mean, just based on the numbers, if I win 14 days in a row, hell, even if I win 3 days in a row, pretty good chance that I'm going to have a losing day come up soon. And I need to be accepting of that. I need to be ready for that. I need to be prepared. I need to meditate on how I'm going to manage that losing day appropriately. And, in hindsight, that's something that I'm going to do more of and continue to work on, because when that $35,000 losing day came after, a $100,000 winning streak, I still had parts of me that just didn't want to let that winning streak go. Right? And finally, I was just like, ugh, fine. I'm done for the day. This is, I didn't even have the energy to continue trading at a certain point. And that's one of the big reasons that I walked away. And I'm sure you guys can resonate with the idea of, trading to a point of mental exhaustion. And so many people just try to push through that. And it makes sense, because in our normal everyday life, up until the point of us becoming a trader, having a tough day and pushing through it is, you did a good job, man. You persevered, you pushed through the exhaustion. You don't do that as a trader, because it's a completely different ballgame. We are mental athletes. And when we notice that our mental energy is exerted, that is when we must really utilize our self-control and our self-awareness and say, hey, this is when I start to trade really, really poorly. So I got to just turn off the computer and come back tomorrow. And yes, it took me a little bit longer on that one day on May 19th to do that, but I still did it. And that is because I understood and I had appropriate expectations. Yeah, I didn't do it perfectly, that's for sure. But I knew that as long as I walked away, these were the likely results. I would be able to dig out of this. Yeah, it took me, basically the rest of the month to dig out of it and get back to, 110K. But this is so important. Talking about the expectations, understanding that you need to learn how to lose, and not just theoretically be yeah, I know, man, I got to be a good loser. No, you have to practice losing. You have to practice taking a good setup, watching that great setup that is according to your plan, go right to your stop loss and eating it, taking it on the chin and being well, that's variance for you. That's the life of a trader. Sometimes you're going to have pocket aces and somebody else with a worse hand is going to win the pot. And that's something that you just have to be okay with, or you're going on tilt nonstop, my friends. So you must have appropriate expectations, and you must understand that as a trader, it's going to be hard. You're going to lose money. You're going to struggle. Not every day is going to be sunshines and rainbows. And it's the days where you want to pull your hair out, where you feel like you need to risk it all. That's when you need to exercise your self-control as much as possible and remind yourself of those expectations that are within the reality of a consistently profitable trader. Now, before we get into the final key point, I want you guys to marinate on this quote. Most traders say that they want to trade for a living and then trade like they need to retire next week. That brings me to number 5. Number 5 is a concept that we really need to implement throughout our entire lives so that we can allow it to carry over into our trading. We must be accepting of where we are in the journey. We must be accepting that loss is truly the cost of doing business as a trader. We must be accepting that not every day is going to be your day, not every day is going to be a great day, and not every day are you going to be at peak performance where you follow your plan. You must accept that being a trader means not being perfect. Yes, you can strive for perfection, but you never want to have expectations of being perfect, because you will never be perfect. We will never be perfect as a trader. We will never buy the bottom and sell the top to the tick. We'll never sell the top and buy back and cover at the lows. It just doesn't happen. We have to be accepting that we're always going to be leaving money on the table. We have to be accepting that we will experience fear of missing out and greed, and understand that those are natural human reactions. And all that we have to do as traders, yes, easier said than done, is recognize that those things are presenting themselves and accept that they're happening instead of trying to fight them. So many traders, when they are facing that inevitable losing day after, a great week, a lot of times, I'm sure you guys have experienced this, have a great week, Monday through Thursday, boom, Friday, you give it all back, blow your accounts. I've done that more times than I would like to admit, but I've done it so many times, it's not even funny. I mean, maybe it is a little funny in hindsight, because all I needed to do was just walk the hell away. It's pretty silly. So with that said, you guys need to accept where you are in your journey. You need to accept all of these things: loss, failure, frustration, greed, fear. You don't eliminate experiencing those things. You just, in your trading journey, get better at accepting them, acknowledging them, and then doing something about it when they are recognized. So we as traders, in general, no matter a winning day, a losing day, a day where we followed our plan and the trades worked, a day where we followed our plan and the trades didn't work, or the inevitable times where we're just not following our plan and we're not necessarily in the best frame of mind to trade. We need to be accepting of all of those scenarios and understand that none of them are life or death. As long as we accept them and take them from a logical frame of mind, that is how we can use them to strengthen our journey the very next trading day. Most importantly, as long as we live to trade another day. Accept the win, accept the loss, learn from what you can, and move on. So with all of these things in mind, I hope that this has been a helpful and informative video for you guys. I hope that you can resonate with these things that I'm saying, and I hope that you can take this information and start to implement these things into your trading journey right now in your very next trading session. Understand that the journey of becoming a consistently profitable trader is one of the most difficult things that you will probably ever do in your entire life. It is also one of the most rewarding journeys that even before you reach consistent profitability, I'm sure that a lot of you guys can attest to the journey of becoming, working towards consistent profitability has already made you a better person. These 5 things are not only things that help me in my trading on a daily basis, but truly help me in life on a daily basis. So if you guys do find value in this content, I would greatly appreciate it. Once again, if you would like, subscribe, and click that bell notification to be notified every single time we post videos here on the channel. If you guys want to learn more about what we do here at the Trading Network, check out our website, thetradingnetwork.io, where you can purchase access to our most popular product, the TTN Pro Trader Bundle, which includes lifetime access to our private Discord, access to our proprietary indicator package, and access to our Fundamentals of Futures Trading course, where I teach multiple strategies for varying market conditions. I teach my trending strategy, a ranging strategy, and a reversal strategy, and these are the strategies that I trade live on a daily basis in our private Discord that you will get lifetime access to for purchasing the bundle. You guys can also purchase those products standalone on our website, as well as one-on-one mentorship with me if you are interested in a more tailored and catered experience to your strengths and weaknesses as a trader. If you guys have any questions about anything that I've mentioned in this video, please feel free to shoot us an email at info@thetradingnetwork.io. You can also hit us up on Instagram, the.trading.network, and we will get back to you and help any way we possibly can. I greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this content, and I will see you in the next video. Much love.